Hello, welcome to Next God Creations. Today we are going to do something different. This is 2024, so I've decided to add manipulation to my tutorial list. So we are going to use these two images to create something beautiful like this. Let's dive into Photoshop and start the process. So this is my sheet. I'm going to crop part of it using the 4:5 ratio. So let me go and check the images that I downloaded. So let me check on my desktop. We are going to use this image as our background for the manipulation that we are about to do. So this is the image. Now let's import the image that we are going to use as our characters. So this is the first image. Let's right click to rasterize, then remove the background. Let's scale it down a bit, then position it around here. So I'll import my second character, which is the dog. So this is it. I will right click the layer to rasterize it, then I'll remove the background also. Let me scale it down, then position it somewhere here. I want the dog to stand behind the man, so I'll bring this layer below the man like this. So I'll still scale it down like this. You see, it is simple, right? So now we are done with the composition. So let's make it realistic by adding shadows and highlight. You see there is a light coming up from this side, so you need to do all those highlights on our characters to make it look realistic. Yeah, so that one, it is very simple. We are going to use the solid color to create those highlights. So I'll click on this half shaded circle, then I'll select my solid color. Then I'll press OK. Then I'll make sure to clip mask this solid color to the picture, which is the man. So in order to do that, I can right click on this layer, then I'll say create clipping mask, or where is it? This one, create clipping mask, like this. So let's change the color to that glow light. So I'll double click here, then I'll just click on this color like this. I'll click on that one, then I'll say OK. Then I have to change the blending mode of this solid color. So I'll change that to something like overlay. Let me reduce the brightness of the color a bit to something like this, I think. Yeah. So let me press OK. You can change that when you are done. So let's paint the highlight first. So what I need to do now is select this layer, the white one, then I'll press Ctrl+I to invert it. So I'll zoom in like this so that I will see everything clearly. So I'll select my brush tool, then make sure that the brush color is on white. Then I'll paint over my areas that I want the highlight to appear. I don't want it to be on this side because where the cloth is inside, so the light shouldn't be inside. So I'll continue to paint over like this. I'll paint. Let me do same for the other side. like this. So you paint till you are okay. So after I'm done, I'll duplicate this layer using the Ctrl J. Then I'll delete this mask, then create another mask again. Then I'll invert it using the Ctrl I. So for this one, I'll make sure to make my brush bigger a bit. Then I want to create a nice spreading light like this for these areas too, like this. Paint over the reflecting side too. Then I'll make sure I paint these walls too, because I want the reflection to show everywhere. Like this. So we are almost done. So let's see the before. This is the before and now the after. See, we are creating something. Yes, but now you see there's some whitish something around the image. I don't want those things. I don't know if you've noticed that. So what I'll have to do to fix that is I'll right click on the layer mark, then say apply. Then using the control, I'll click on this image, then I'll go to select, then say subject, modify, then say contract. I'll leave it at 5, then I'll say okay. Then I'll use my magic wand tool, then I'll right click, then say deselect or select to inverse, then I'll delete, press my delete key. Ctrl D will deselect it like this. That one is fixed. So I want to do the same thing for the dog for this white outline. I'll right click on the layer, then say apply layer marks, then holding the control, I'll click on the layer, then I'll go to select, modify, then I'll select contract, then I'll press OK. So still using the magic wand, I'll right click, then say select inverse, then I'll press my delete key. Ctrl D will deselect it. That one too is being fixed. So I'll have to create that light reflection for the dog too. So now we are almost done. So let's see the before and the after. So for the highlight, this is the before, this is the before and now the after. So now let's create shadows for these characters to make the design realistic. So I'll push it over to this side, then I'll select this layer, then I'll create a new layer on top. So let me name it man shadow. So this is going to be the shadow for the man. So I'll select my brush, then make sure the brush color is on black, then I'll reduce the size a bit, or it's too small. So like this, let me increase it a bit, then I'll paint over like this. Paint over like this. let me create a mask for it. So when it's on black, I can clean the part that I don't want, like this, to fix those stars. So let me create let me create 1, 2 for where he is sitting. So I make sure it's on white, then sorry, it should be on black rather, because I'm creating a shadow. Then I'll paint over like this. Then let me select this image. I'll create a layer mask for it, then I'll make sure it's on black. Then I'll paint to make it blend well with the shadow, like this. See, it's not blending well with the shadow, like this. So let's do same for the dog. I'm going to use the same layer. I'm not going to create another layer. So I'm going to use the layer that I use for the man shadow. So I'll paint over like this. Oh sorry, I'll have to create another layer. Laziness is not good. So the same thing, then I'll create a new layer, then I'll name it dog shadow. Dog shadow, yes. Then I'll paint over like this. Then I'll create a mask for the dog, the image dog. I'll select and create the mask, then I'll paint like this to blend it with the layer. Now let me create another mask for the shadow, then clean part of it to make it look realistic. Hey Charlie, realistic. Yes, so now we are done with the shadow, so it's left with the last thing, which is color grading. So color grading will change everything about this manipulation. So before you do that, you'll be using the camera raw. So in order to, we can send each of these layers to camera raw, you need to convert all these layers to one smart object. So in order to do that, you can use the shortcut Control Shift Alt and E. Control Shift Alt and E. So you see we have one smart layer here like this. It has merged everything. So we will head over to the filter, then select the camera raw filter. Yes, so you make an adjustment, but I've saved a preset for this manipulation already. So this is how I named it. I named my preset as new manipulation. So I'll click on it, it will apply to my design. Yes, so this is the preset that I created. So you see, you've seen the effect. So this is the effect. So I made a basic adjustment on the basic. So I increased the contrast, I increased the texture to make it a bit rough. Then so this is the before the basic adjustment was like this. So after the basic adjustment, I got it to be a bit darker like this. And then I did a bit manipulation on the color grading. So this is the before, this was the before, and now the after. So before and after. And I made a bit adjustment on the color calibration. So this was the before and now the after. So this is, I'll press OK. I'm done with my color grading. Yes, so this is the before, the color grading, and now. So before and now. So color grading changes everything. So that is all. Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to subscribe and share. Stay tuned for more updates. Thank you.